Good morning. I'd like to bring the July 19th, 2023 Planning Advisory Commission meeting to order. The official start of this meeting is 9 a.m. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please silence or turn your cell phones off. Thank you. I remind those in the audience and those watching on TV that this is the first hearing of any rezoning, text change, or special exception request brought before us today. We will first hear a reading of the staff report for the case by planning staff and ask the applicant to provide a brief overview of the said request. We will then give the opportunity for anyone in the audience to speak for or against that request or to inquire about said request. Commissioners will have any needed discussion on the case. Once a motion is made and seconded by the commission, a vote will take place and a recommendation will be rendered. The case will go back to the planning department for their independent recommendation. If a favorable recommendation is given, then the case is forwarded to the city council with 2 independent recommendations. If the planning department makes a recommendation for denial, the applicant has 10 days from the receipt of the letter stating the denial to notify the clerk of council that they are requesting to be placed on the city council's agenda. The City Council of Columbus will hold a public meeting called the first reading. Said council shall consider the case, review Planning Advisory Commission and Planning Department recommendations, and hear discussion on the matter. Council will make a final decision at a second public meeting called the second reading. Our first agenda item today is to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Does anyone have any comments or corrections regarding the minutes? All right. Would the chairman like to make a motion to approve the minutes? So moved. All right. All in favor, raise your right hand. All right. That brings us to our first case of the day. REZN 05230974, a request for a text amendment to the UDO Table of Permitted Uses. Table 3.1.1 proposed amendments to allow a tattoo and body piercing shop to be located in Uptown Zoning District as a special exception use. Casey McGrath is the applicant. Could we please hear from staff?
Okay, there we go. Good morning. This is an amendment to Table 3.1.1 that would allow a tattoo and body piercing shop as a special exception use in the Uptown Zoning District. Currently, a tattoo and body piercing shop is only permitted in general commercial, GC, and no other zoning district. This would allow it to come in as a special exception use, not permitted outright. So it'd still have to go through the Planning Commission, City Council process for each one.
All right. Is there any questions from commissioners pertaining to the staff report? All right. Would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us a brief overview of your request? Okay, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Casey McGrath. My address is 2609 18th Avenue, Columbus, Georgia, 31901. I am wanting to open up a tattoo studio in the Uptown district. I feel that we would be a great addition to the growing arts community in Uptown, and I would be really excited to be a part of Uptown.
Any commissioners have any questions for Ms. McGrath?
I do.
Hi.
Could you tell me how many artists would be employed and what the hours of operation would be?
Of course. So it would, right now it would be myself and my husband. We both tattoo. And then we also have 2 apprentices, which we're hoping will also be tattooing within the next year or 2. So for right now, it would just be 2 artists with the potential of 4.
In the hours of operation?
Oh, yes. The hours of operation would be 10 a.m. to about 7 p.m. You're welcome.
Yes, Ms. Thomas?
And that's Monday through Saturdays?
Yes, Monday through Saturday. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Is there anybody Anybody else, any other commissioner like to make any? All right. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this request? All right, sir, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Yes, my name is Robert Jenkins. I'm the owner of the property. I have quite a bit of property in Harris County and everything, and I rent a lot of it out and everything. And I am renting this, I own a business down on 10th Street. And on 9th Street, this business, I'm noticing that there's a lot of space down there. It's for rent. It's coming vacant because of the government center being relocated for a period of time, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we need some businesses down there because we're turning into a problem down there. A lot of homeless, a lot of problems that are occurring. This particular property, I've had to clean up a couple of times because of the homeless people that are trying to sleep along that area and everything. And if we can get somebody down there with a good business that this lady wants to put in, we might be able to clean up a little bit of that area. And I think that's what's important, is cleaning up a lot of this area that's starting to become a problem downtown. I think all of y'all are aware of that too. I'm sure you've had your share of complaints. And I've got a business on 10th Street, and sometimes I'll get there in the morning, somebody be sleeping in front of my business there. And by me being there, I can control this a little bit better. But I don't think we can go wrong by letting this young lady open a tattoo shop, her and her husband. I dealt with Calhoun for leasing this property, and when they called me on her, they called me about a lot of people wanting to lease this property. A lot of people didn't have their ducks in a row. These people have their ducks in a row. They're smart business people, and they're clean, professional people. So that's all I can say.
Thank you. Any
Anybody
questions
want
for
to
this
ask me a
person?
question?
Anybody have any questions for him? All right, I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you so much. Do I need to stand here or go ahead?
No, that's fine. You go ahead and sit back down. Is any other additional discussion among commissioners concerning this rezoning? Yes, Mr. King.
No, I was just going, I don't think there's anyone in opposition, so I think I'll just
yeah.
go ahead and make a motion on the
All right.
first
Go ahead.
one. In case of REZN 05-230974, request for a text amendment change to the UDO table of permitted uses, table 3.1.1. Proposed amendments to allow tattoo and body piercing shop be located in Uptown UPT zoning district as a special exception. I make a motion that we approve this.
All right, anybody have a second? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, all right, it is.
And I think I'll go ahead and do number 2 as well, if that's
Okay,
okay?
sure.
Or do you guys need to read that first?
If you don't mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Let me get there. You beat me to it? Okay. So this is the special exception use request to allow a tattoo parlor in Uptown zoning district at 221 9th Street. There is parking on 9th Street and 3rd Avenue on both sides of the street of 9th Avenue. And as the applicant said, there would be 4 employees, and she has told me that these are appointment only, so there is ample parking. This business is going to go into the existing property, so there won't be any significant changes to that block. Any kind of sign or facade change would have to go through an Uptown Facade Board meeting for anything in that district, not just a tattoo parlor. I believe we've covered everything else. We have the hours. There was an attorney in the area who had some concerns about this, but as we've discussed, there are other options to think about, like the government center moving and vacancy. I don't think he had all the details of what this would entail.
Any questions from commissioners about the special exception? Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and proceed with the second one. EXCP 05-230881, request for a special exception use located at 221 9th Street. Current zoning is Uptown UPT. The proposed use is a tattoo studio. I make a motion that it's consistent with what is going on down in that area. So I make a motion we approve this one.
I'll get a second. All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Yes, sure, sir. Please come back to the podium.
Yes, I'm sorry. Is this over now? Yes. Oh, so they don't have to come back for nothing? So everything's approved?
They have to go to city council.
I'm sorry?
They have to go to city council.
Oh, it does have to go
Yes,
to the
sir.
council?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
I thought once y'all approved it, it had to go.
Planning Commission is an advisory body. They do recommendations.
Okay.
There's 2 more meetings of
Two
city
more
council.
meetings.
Yes, sir.
I thought y'all just overlooked the other 2 meetings and okayed it. When you said you approved it, hell, I thought that was meant everything was done.
A lot of folks wish it worked that way.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, that brings us to our next case, REZN 0623-0111, request to rezone .90 acres of land located at 119 Bascom Court. Current zoning is residential office. Proposed zoning is general commercial. The proposed use is office warehouse. Sam Hewitt is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 2, Davis. Could we please hear from staff?
The current use of this property is undeveloped right now, but the existing land use is general commercial. The proposed use is office warehouse. That would be inconsistent with the surrounding area. The future land use designation is mixed use, so it would not be compatible with that. As far as traffic, that would actually decrease by 34 trips if used for warehouse. There would be a buffer required along the RMF1 and SFR1 property borders. That would be a category C. To the north of this is residential multifamily 1. To the south, residential office. To the east, residential office. And to the west is the SFR1. 13 property owners were notified, and I did receive 4 opposition. I can go over those. Let's see. What the majority of people said, they were all in Bascom Court, along that same street in the RO zoning, which it currently is. They have said that this is a professional area and that a warehouse use is not appropriate, and there are concerns about clientele. There are concerns that the current business that is owned by the applicant is not well-maintained. One of the callers discussed the gravel parking, but that is behind a fence, if you saw in the site plan that I sent out. And then there's a daycare owner who was unsure of what this is gonna look like, what operations are gonna be held, what parents of the children being dropped off will think, and that it is not conducive to the area. And that is all the calls I received.
Any question concerning the staff report? All right. Would the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us a brief overview of your request?
I'm Rodney Milner, and this is Mr. Sam Hewitt. He is the property owner. I am the agent that sold the property. So if you have any questions, maybe I can answer them. Basically, he's gonna build a warehouse to put his own boom trucks and maybe a couple of personal cars that he collects. And that's the only thing he's gonna put in it. I do have drawings of the property. I think y'all have them, though. Okay. Is there any questions?
I do have a question. What type business are you planning to go in there? It sounds like there were some concerns about that around there.
It's Foster's Tree Service is
Oh.
what we have under contract. He has another building, which is probably 2 miles north of it. And that's where majority of his business is. He wants to just put he's got some very high dollar crane trucks that he likes to keep out of the weather. And his current building will not house it because of the height of them. So that's what he wants to do. He's not gonna conduct business here. He just gonna shelter those high dollar equipment. That's all he's doing.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Yes, Mr. Dudley?
Not so much for the applicant, but for staff, just to confirm, although he does not want to conduct business there, if we change the classification to zoning commercial, to general commercial, that wouldn't prevent a future owner or tenant from conducting business there, right?
Correct. They could tear that down and put anything that is permitted in general commercial.
Okay, thank you.
In that particular location, there is some restricted covenants, for facade, and he's gonna meet all that criteria. It's gonna be a facade on the front of that warehouse. It's not gonna be a metal building. It's gonna be a metal building, but it'll be a facade on the front of it. And he'll meet all the criteria of setbacks.
Gotcha. Is there any other questions for the applicant from anybody? All right, is anybody in the audience like to speak for this request? Is there any audience like to speak against this request? All right, any other additional discussion among commissioners before we make a motion? Would a commissioner like to make a motion?
I'll make a
Go ahead,
motion.
Mr. King.
All right. Am I the only one scared to talk this morning, guys? Come
Yeah,
on.
it looks like it.
Okay, the case of REZN 06-230111, request to rezone .90 acres of land located at 119 Bascom Court. Current zoning is RO, proposed zoning is general commercial, the proposed use is office warehouse. I make a motion we approve this case, although it is not compatible with existing land uses, but it is, it should be okay for this area with the other GC nearby.
Commissioner like to make a second? Yes, Mr. Dudley. All in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? All right. Thank you, sir. All right. That brings us to our final case of the day, REZN 0623-0160. Request to rezone 4.03 acres of land located at 3610-3744 Woodruff Road. Current zoning is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. Proposed use is a medical office. GLW King is the applicant. The property is located in Council District 8, Garrett. Could we please hear from staff?
The proposed use is medical office, and that is consistent with that area. There are predominantly medical uses in that area. The future land use designation is office professional, and that is compatible with the proposed request. The average annual daily trips will remain at 316. That will not change for this use. There are no buffer requirements, and the surrounding zoning is NC to the north, south, and west, and general commercial to the east. 34 property owners were notified. There was one call, and I can't say that he was in opposition to this. He would just like to request that trash services are not picked up at 7 in the morning. The neighborhood commercial district that it is right now limits the individual building size to 5,000 square feet, and they would like larger for their medical office, so nothing is changing except to have that bigger building footprint.
All right, any questions for commissioners for the staff report? All right, would the applicant like to please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us an overview of your request?
Good morning. My name is Sean Roberts. Address is 5607 Whitesville Road. I am the real estate agent representing Jill King as the property owner. The medical space is actually non-conforming as it is. The end unit is already 6,400 square foot. When St. Francis moved out of the space, however, it had already been grandfathered in. We're working on a new tenant, medical tenant, to move into the two spaces on the end, and obviously that's bigger than what's currently allowed. So all we're trying to do is get the right zoning, right approval for us to be able to move forward with this lease. Until this is rezoned, the potential tenant won't sign a lease because they don't know if they can actually operate there, so.
All right, any questions from commissioners for the applicant? All right, does anyone in the audience like to speak for this request? So you might, audience like to speak against this request. Anyway, yes, would the commissioner like to make a motion? Yes, Mr. Baker.
When it comes to REZN 06230160, a request to rezone 4.03 acres of land located at 3610 and 3744 Woodruff Road. Current zoning is neighborhood commercial. Proposed zoning is general commercial. I propose that we accept this rezoning because, as he said, it's already being used.
I'd like to make a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All righty. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Approved. Thank you. Is there any other business among these commissioners before we adjourn? Yes, Mr. King.
Do we have another meeting coming up?
We will not see each other until after August. We have nothing in August.
Nothing in August?
Nothing, no one got anything in.
Oh, man.
Yes, what you said.
If someone sends in an application, yes.
Don't you have something in the hopper, though?
We've got a lot of things going to city council, but no one wants to come see us.
All right, would the commissioner like to make a motion to adjourn? All right, second, all right. All those in favor, raise your right hand, we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.